Hello, everyone, and welcome to Walking Through the Bible. In times of trouble, it can be tempting to think that we're all alone, that nobody else is suffering, or if they are, they're not suffering as bad as me. And yet, when we look to scriptures, we will find people who suffered grievously, sometimes for their own sins and sometimes for the sins of others. What can we learn from these people that might help us come through this current time of struggle? Let's find out. So if you have a Bible with you, turn to the book of Psalms, Psalm 63. We're going to be reading from verses 1 to 11. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Psalm 63, beginning at verse 1. A psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Judah. O God, you are my God. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land where there is no water. So I have looked for you in the sanctuary, to see your power and your glory. Because your loving kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise you. Thus I will bless you while I live. I will lift up my hands in your name. My soul shall be satisfied with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise you with joyful lips. When I remember you on my bed, I meditate on you in the night watches. Because you have been my help, therefore in the shadow of your wings I will rejoice. My soul follows close behind you, your right hand upholds me. But those who seek my life to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword, they shall be a portion for jackals. But the king shall rejoice in God. Everyone who swears by him shall glory. But the mouth of those who speak lies shall be stopped. Psalm 63 is a psalm of David, and there's no real reason to doubt that. It pertains to the time in David's life when he was in the wilderness of Judah. And while this could easily apply to David's time on the run from King Saul, because David said in verse 11 that the king shall rejoice in God, it must be referring to a time in David's life when he was king and in the wilderness of Judah, which of course means we're again talking about the time when David was on the run from Absalom. This was a time, of course, where David is being punished for his sin with Bathsheba, the culmination of not having any moral authority to stop his son Absalom from doing horrible things. And yet, David was not angry with God during this time. In fact, he was longing for God more. He says that his soul thirsts after God, and his flesh longs for God in a dry and thirsty land, something that would be an apt description of the wilderness of Judah. You would think that in this time of David's life, being punished by God would have the opposite effect. After all, David repented. The child that David and Bathsheba had conceived had died. Why did God continue to punish David? But that's not how David saw things. David saw God as just and good, meting out punishment on a man wholly deserving of it. David longed for the time when he could go into the sanctuary of God and praise God in the presence of God's power and glory. The reason? Because he knew that God's loving kindness is better than life itself. You see, even though David understood he was being punished, he also understood that God was punishing him because he loved David and wanted David not to fall into this sin again. David understood that God had not abandoned him and was able to help him endure through. And David understood that this earthly punishment was for a time, and it was better than eternal punishment away from the presence of God, and so he accepted it. David's lips would continue to praise the name of God. He would bless God in his deeds and lift up God's name with his hands. He would meditate on God during the night, for God was David's help. Not only physical help, but spiritual help too, for God's right hand upholds David in righteousness. What an amazing blessing this is, for without God to aid us and provide us his grace, we would not be able by ourselves to free ourselves from sin. Through all this, though, David knew that those who sought his life would be destroyed and fall by the sword because of the messianic promises made by God to David. The mouth who speaks lies will be stopped, but the king who swears by God and God's goodness will be shown to be true and will be able to rejoice in the Lord. What of us today? When we're in trouble, do we have the same attitude that David did? Are we able to sing the words of not only this psalm, but of hymns written with similar sentiments? Will we let God's will be mine, and through joy and sorrow allow God to conduct me as his own? Are we able to say that no matter what, in good times and in bad, and in life and in death, my Lord, thy will be done. That's what David is saying here. He is resigning his will to God's will. But not only that, he is rejoicing in resigning his will to God's will. He is not going kicking and screaming. He is doing so willingly. May we be like David and rejoice in the Lord forever. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Psalm 64, verses 1 to 10, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time.
We thank you for watching Walking Through the Bible today. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. But if you like this video, we ask that you consider subscribing to our channel so you won't miss out on other videos in our series, as well as share this video among your friends so that the saving message of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.